So, it's time for you to pick your electives, which means that you just finished all your core classes. Congratulations! Those classes are no joke, and now it's time for the Choose Your Own Adventure portion of the MBA program. I know, when you start looking at that elective catalog, oh my goodness, it can be overwhelming because there's so many things there, and there's so many things that you want to take and that you want to study and that you're interested in, and oh my god, it looks amazing, but there's only so much time in the world and the day. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Krissy, and I'm a student in the Haas Executive MBA program, and I'm graduating soon, so I'm wrapping up my time with electives, and I thought I would do a little video about some strategies and things to consider whenever you're choosing your elective classes. So as of the time that I'm filming this video, you need 41 credits to graduate from the Executive MBA program, and 29 of those are from your core classes. If you're in the evening, weekend, or full-time programs, it might be a little bit different, so be sure to check. I don't want to you to accidentally not graduate because of whatever I'm saying in this video. The credits in the elective courses are usually between 1 and 3 credits. You can kind of guess the workload of each class based on the number of credits. So a 1 credit class is usually maybe a 1 weekend class. So it's like 2 full days, Saturday, Sunday, while a 3 unit class would be like a weekly class from the evening weekend program that meets every week, maybe about 3 hours per class. So one quick exception before we jump in is the GNAM course for the EMBAs and for some of the EWs who get into the class. GNAM is the class where you get to have a global experience studying in a different country with MBAs from all over the world. If you haven't seen my video about that, where we went to Mexico City, please check it out. I'll put the link in the bio. It was so much fun. I highly recommend. It's such a worthwhile experience. And what does that mean for your electives? So if you do GNAM, basically you're getting 3 credits out of the way early during your term 3, which alleviates your schedule in terms 4 and 5 to have more flexibility and either take a lighter load if you need to, or just add an extra class and get some more credits. Okay, so now a few things to consider when you're thinking about what you're going to do for your electives. Number 1, are you a local student or are you traveling? Obviously, if you're coming in from out of state, it kind of makes it a little bit more logistically difficult to get into those classes that are every week. So that's something to think about. If you are local, this is where that becomes an advantage. Number 2, some of the classes that you might want to take are only offered in either the spring or the fall, and it's not going to be offered in both. There's a little bit of a risk factor there. You don't know, and no one can really promise you what's going to be available. So if there's a course you really want to take, I highly recommend you go for it and don't postpone it if you can. Number 3, this is kind of the part of the program where your job and your bosses have maybe started to notice that you've been gone a lot. Something else to consider is whether or not you can take more time off than you already have. If you're in a situation where you need to put a little more time back into work, there are options for you. But if you still have that flexibility, you can take advantage of things like other week-long courses that they have for electives. And what my cohort did is they basically made an additional immersion for themselves by everyone in that class. Even though it was online, they traveled together to Seattle to take the class from a hotel together there with the people that lived in Seattle. And so I thought that was really special that they had this extra opportunity to spend time together. But I know for myself, I needed to take a step back on the days off. Another thing to consider is how busy your personal schedule and your work schedule is going to be and when. So if you already know that, hey, I've got a couple weddings in the fall that I have to go to, or I have this big work project that's going to finish in the spring, I would take that into consideration when choosing your workload. It's maybe not the best time to take the super heavy classes like mergers and acquisitions. I know when you're signing up for Haas, they like to promote to you that you can take classes from all over Berkeley, not just at the business school. And it's true. You can sign up for classes at the law school and engineering, real estate classes, get a certificate in sustainability or something related to healthcare. Those opportunities are here. However, there are some things to consider there as well. Number 1 is all of the evening weekend classes for the business school are weekly. And so if you're not local, again, it's really hard to make that happen, as well as it's good to know that A lot of the evening weekend classes start before and end after the EMBA block weeks. I myself didn't really realize that, and I missed the first class of my evening weekend class. So just keep that in mind. You want to go earlier than everybody else probably to catch those classes, and you might need to double check at the end with your professors to see that there's not any conflicts with either your EMBA classes or with your end of the year travel. Another thing to consider is that getting into some of these popular classes can be hard, and so you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket if you know it's a popular class. They've kind of been changing up the way that you apply for these elective classes, so I don't want to speak too much to that in this video, but just know that you want to give yourself a few options of things that can work for you and then decide down the road. But Krissy, how do I find out what the popular classes are? Great question. So you can always ask people in the year ahead of you who've probably just gone through the electives what they liked. That can be people from the executive program or from the EW program. But another great resource are the online reviews. So you know those end of year surveys that they make you take for every single course? Well, the information from that survey is compiled on a website, and you can check that out in order to see what other students in the past have thought about the professor, about the workload. So that's a great resource that you can check out too. I will say, take the reviews with a grain of salt. You know, everyone's going to have a different experience of a professor or of a class, depending on their personality. So do with that information what you will. And I will say, whenever people write things online and it's anonymous, I feel like people can get mean, unfortunately. And so you never know if someone was having a bad day when they wrote that review. And so, yeah, just take it with a grain of salt. So another thing that Haas likes to tell you is that once you're an alum, you can continue to audit classes, which is true. But it's not quite as simple as they make it seem. You have to enter a lottery and get selected in order to bid on classes. And even then, I think the number of spots that are available are a little bit limited. There's also a cap on how many classes you can audit a year. So if there's a class that you really want to take, go for it. Don't postpone it and think, oh, I'll do it later when I'm an alum. Just really try to get in there and do what you can. It's also good to think about who you want to spend your time with, you know? Obviously, taking classes in the evening weekend program means that you're going to meet people in the evening weekend program, which you might not have up until this point of the program unless you put yourself out there. Or you might say, you know what, I'm so in love with my EMBA cohort. I only want to hang out with my EMBA cohort, and that's fine too. But that might mean that you need to choose more EMBA classes. Another thing to consider for the Executive MBA program is that you pay the same amount regardless of how many credits you take. This is different than the other programs, and so it's something to consider as well. I know some people really want to get their money's worth, so they're taking a huge course load, a ton of classes, while I know other people are just kind of burnt out at this point in the program and just really need a lighter load in order to be more present either at work or with family or both. Okay, so a few strategies that you can think about as well on how you can look at deciding which classes to take. One style is to just go really deep on the things that you like. So let's say for myself, I'm a marketing person. I can take all of the classes that are available that have something to do with marketing or are going to improve my marketing skills, like pricing or marketing strategy. Or you can kind of go the opposite and you can say, hey, this is my time to expand my horizons. I want to put myself out of my comfort zone. And another strategy as well, again, I think this affects more the people that don't live local, but thinking about online versus in-person classes. You can pretty much get away with mostly online courses if that's what you want. There are quite a few available, and it's only getting bigger as the Flex program, which is a newer program at Haas, is continuing to develop. If you can't travel as much, again, for work or family or personal reasons, maybe stick to online. Or maybe that's not the experience you want and you just really want to be around people. It's really up to you. I recommend that you make your selection, sort of like top classes that are must-haves, and some B classes as well that you're interested in, and sign up for maybe 1 or 2 more than you intend to take, because there will be a little space in time where you can show up to that first class, see it, hear the professor, meet the other students in your class, and then decide if it's still right for you. There is time to drop classes, but I will say it's easier to drop classes than it is to get in. So again, if you can, without taking up space for someone that might really want to be in that class, I would try to maybe get 1 or 2 extras that you're seriously considering. Go check it out and see if it's right for you. Again, that might be harder to do for the super popular classes, but I know within the Executive MBA classes, you have a lot of flexibility there to try things out. Try before you buy. And really, my last tip is just to not stress. They start sharing electives with you early in the spring, and you're not going to take them until end of August, September. And so there's a lot of time there to get all up in your head about what you need to take and what you need to do. And don't get me wrong, it's good to be prepared, but it's also not good to just stress yourself out about something for months on end. All right, last, I just want to share a little bit about my strategy in case it's helpful. Personally, I only wanted to do in-person classes, so even though there were a few that the titles and the content looked really interesting, I didn't take it if it was online because I really wanted to be around people and have the opportunity to meet more people and see my cohort. Second, for me, is that I tried to prioritize some of the classes that would give me skills that I could just immediately walk away with that were a little bit less theoretical. An example of that would be my Leader as Coach class or my negotiations class. Both of those classes are more like labs where it's less about lecture and you're just there doing the skills, and again, it just feels like you're able to walk out the door already having this like tool in your hand. As far as selecting classes, I try to find that balance between going deeper on the things that I'm doing in marketing, as well as kind of filling in my weaker areas. So I just really thought about like what was going to be most relevant to me in the next 5 years. That included thinking about AI a little bit more than I already have. That also meant taking a class like difficult conversations, which are very difficult for me. And so just having these spaces where I can practice areas that I know I personally need to work on. Okay, I'm just going to read through the electives that I took in case any of you guys have questions on these. I'll start with GNAM, which again, that was during term 3 credits, and I went to Mexico City. After that, in term 4, I took 1 evening weekend course, which was marketing strategy. That was 3 credits on Monday nights. And then for my EMBA electives, I took AI and Business Transformation, New Venture Finance, and Leader as Coach. That was in term 4. In term 5, I took Negotiations, Pricing, Financial Information Analysis, and Difficult Conversations, all of which were EMBA electives. If I can answer any questions about those, please let me know down in the comments. So altogether, I'll be graduating with about 46 credits completed total. Again, the requirement is 41. I'd say I'm probably in the middle. I know a lot of my classmates that are either between jobs or took time off, took way more classes and just really took advantage. And I also know people that are graduating right on the 41 credit line. So it really is up to you, whatever you want to do. There's so many different ways that you can go. Again, this is the best part of the program because it's part of the program that becomes super personalized to you. It really is an adventure, and it can be whatever you want it to be, whatever you need it to be. It's truly up to you. And so my goal for today was just to give you guys some strategies on how to make those decisions. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe. I've been vlogging my entire Executive MBA experience, and we've got quite a few more videos to go all the way up until graduation, so please subscribe and follow along for more. Until next time, bye!